What I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see the global power structure. And I guarantee 90% of people watching the news right now have absolutely no clue this is happening. While everyone's distracted by headlines and social media drama, a silent economic war has been fought and won. And the winner? It's not who you think. Before I tell you who came out on top, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what we're diving into today is information the mainstream media won't touch. This channel, Next World Economy, exists to bring you the real story behind global economics and geopolitics. So subscribe, and let's get into this together. Here's what's happening. The world's most powerful nation just made a move so desperate, so reckless, that it's exposed a weakness everyone thought was impossible. And on the other side, a country that's been quiet, calm, and strategic has just proven it holds the real power in the 21st century. I'm talking about economic power. The kind of power that doesn't need aircraft carriers or missiles. The kind that can bring a giant to its knees without a single shot fired. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're in a relationship where one person has always been dominant, always called the shots. Then one day, that person starts making threats, ridiculous threats. They demand things that make no sense. They try to bully you into submission. But instead of cowering, you stand your ground. You quietly cut off the things they need from you. And suddenly, they realize something terrifying. They need you more than you need them. That's exactly what's playing out on the world stage right now. The geopolitical chess game has flipped. And before I tell you exactly how this happened, I need you to do something. Drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from. Are you in the US, Canada, Europe? I want to know, because this story affects all of us differently. And make sure you share this video with someone who needs to understand what's really happening in the world economy. The algorithm doesn't push content like this, so we need your help to spread the truth. Now, let's get into the details. There's a massive land grab being threatened right now. One of the wealthiest nations on Earth is trying to force the purchase of sovereign territory from a longtime ally. We're talking about Greenland, and the method being used isn't negotiation, it's extortion. The threat is simple. Hand over this land or face crippling economic tariffs. Starting February 1st, there's a 10% tariff being imposed on key allies. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Finland. By June, that jumps to 25%. And it doesn't stop until the deal is done. Think about that for a second. These aren't enemies. These are allies. Partners in defense agreements, members of the same military alliance. And yet, the justification for this blackmail is that decades of defense subsidies are now being called in as debts. The message is clear. We protected you. Now you owe us. Pay up with land. This isn't diplomacy. This is a protection racket. And it reveals something critical. When a superpower resorts to threatening its friends, it's not a sign of strength. It's a sign of desperation. Here's where it gets interesting. The excuse being used for this land grab is a weapon system, a so-called Golden Dome, a defensive and offensive technology that apparently needs Greenland's geography to work at maximum efficiency. Angles, distances, strategic positioning. But buried in that technical justification is a phrase that should make you pause. This is all supposedly for the protection of another country. The implication? That this neighbor is too weak to defend itself. That it's a child that needs a powerful protector to make decisions for it. That's the narrative being pushed. But here's the reality. That so-called weak neighbor? It's actually the one holding all the cards. And over the past few years, it's proven something the rest of the world is just now starting to understand. You don't need military dominance to win in the modern era. You need economic discipline. You need strategic independence. And most importantly, you need the courage to say no. Let me tell you what happened. When tariffs were first threatened, when the bullying began, this country didn't panic. It didn't send diplomats rushing to beg for mercy. It did something smarter. It fought back economically. The government imposed reciprocal tariffs, dollar for dollar. But more importantly, the people mobilized. Citizens made a collective decision. They stopped buying. They closed their wallets. No more imported goods from the aggressor. No more vacation spending in their cities. No more supporting their economy. And it worked. Because here's the thing about modern economic warfare. The real power isn't in the hands of governments, it's in the hands of consumers. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who need to hear this. And stick with me, because what I'm about to tell you next is going to blow your mind. The country that stood its ground didn't just survive the economic attack, it thrived. It diversified its trade relationships. It turned to Asia, to Europe, to new markets that didn't hold them hostage. It stopped being dependent on a single trading partner and became a global economic player. And the aggressor? They backed down. Not because they wanted to, but because the economic pain was too much. Farmers, manufacturers, businesses in key political regions started feeling the pressure. And suddenly, the threat stopped. Now, fast forward to today. The same playbook is being used against Europe, against the UK. And what's the response? Panic, shock, late-stage defiance. The UK thought it could appease the aggressor. They signed deals. They hosted state visits. They bent the knee. And what did they get? Nothing. They're on the tariff list just like everyone else. Their strategy of submission failed completely. Meanwhile, the country that stood strong years ago, it's sitting back, watching the chaos, knowing it already learned this lesson. You can't negotiate with a bully. You can only show them you're not afraid. Here's what makes this so significant. This isn't just about trade. It's about a psychological shift. For decades, the global order was based on a certain hierarchy. One superpower led, and everyone else followed. But that's over. The emperor has no clothes. The facade of invincibility has cracked. And the world is realizing that strength isn't about military might. It's about stability. It's about reliability. It's about having a backbone when the pressure is on. Think about what's happening right now in real time. Global investors are looking for safe havens, not just for their money, but for their trust. They're tired of volatility. They're tired of leaders who govern by Twitter rants and erratic policy changes. They want steady hands. They want governments that play the long game. And that's exactly what one nation has proven it can do. While others are screaming, threatening, and flailing, this country is calm. It's strategic. It's playing chess while others are playing checkers. And here's the lesson for the rest of the world. Europe needs to wake up. The UK needs to wake up. Deals and appeasement won't work. The only language that's understood is economic pain. If the citizens of these countries want to stop the bullying, they need to do what worked before. Stop buying, stop funding, stop supporting the economy of the aggressor. Every dollar spent is a vote. Every purchase is a choice. And if enough people make the right choice, the balance of power shifts. Now, I know some of you are thinking, is this really sustainable? Can a smaller nation really stand up to a superpower long term? And the answer is yes. Because the 21st century isn't about who has the biggest military, it's about who controls the resources, who has the energy, who has the rare earth minerals, who has the trade routes. And the country we're talking about, it has all of that. It's not a colony. It's not a dependent. It's a resource superpower that's been underestimated for too long. Let me give you some context. When tariffs hit their steel industry, they found new buyers. When their energy sector was threatened, they built infrastructure to ship directly to global markets, cutting out the middleman. They proved that geography doesn't equal destiny. Just because you're next to a giant doesn't mean you have to live in its shadow. And that's a lesson every middle power needs to learn. Before we go further, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on. We're building a community here at Next World Economy that values truth over propaganda. And if this video is opening your eyes, share it, post it, get it in front of people who need to see this. Here's the bigger picture. What we're witnessing is the decline of the old order and the rise of a new one. The aggressive tactics we're seeing, the land grabs, the tariff threats, the blackmail, these aren't signs of dominance. They're death rattles. They're the actions of a power that knows it's losing its grip and is lashing out in desperation. Meanwhile, the quiet, strategic players are positioning themselves for the future. They're building alliances, they're securing resources. They're proving that you don't need to be the loudest to be the strongest. And the most important part? This isn't just a government-level game, it's a people-level game. The power shift happened because ordinary citizens made choices. They chose not to support an economy that was attacking them. They chose independence over convenience. And that collective action was more powerful than any military alliance could ever be. So what's the takeaway here? If you're watching from the US, understand that your government's actions have consequences. If you're in Europe or the UK, learn from what worked. Don't appease, don't beg. Stand firm and use your economic power. And if you're anywhere else in the world, recognize that we're entering a new era where the old rules don't apply. The nations that will dominate the future aren't the ones with the most weapons. They're the ones with the most discipline, the most strategic foresight, and the most unified populations. The silent economic war has already been won. Most people just don't realize it yet. But now you do. That's why this channel exists. To cut through the noise and show you what's really happening. So do me one last favor, comment below and tell me what you think. Do you agree with this analysis? Do you see the power shift happening? Let's build a conversation in the comments. And don't forget to like and share this video. The more people who understand this, the better equipped we all are to navigate what's coming next. Thanks for watching Next World Economy. I'll see you in the next one.